welcome and thanks for your patience. Before we get to our program this evening, we're going to watch a show put on by Grand Paparazzi, as he's known in the family. So for those of you who have sometimes been frustrated or annoyed or challenged by the fact that Grandpa, Dad is always taking pictures and always really close to your face, now we know why. So with that, we're going to start with a slideshow. It'll give a few people maybe time to still filter in, and then we'll. Thank you.
Yesterday, a child came out to wander, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle again. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like when you're older must appease him, and promises of someday make his dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle again. 16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town, and they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet too slow, the circles down. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle again. So the years spin by, and now the boy is 20. Though his dreams have lost some grandeur coming true, there'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams, and plenty before the last revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came.
that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't I? Oh, someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like a lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where.
Well, wasn't that sweet? Can you hear me in the back? Just raise your hand if you can. Am I good? Thank you. And hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Charlie Greenwood. I'm fortunate to be the current director of the Juniper Gardens Children's Project, and I'm charged with welcoming you here today to Marilyn's Memorial. Marilyn and Vance were such an integral part of the program during their years at Juniper Gardens. After they both moved on, Marilyn graduated and moved into a professional practice, and Vance decided to retire after 25 years. They both retained and maintained a supportive force with the project, and gathered with us on many occasions, many holidays, with the new and the old, and we all just had a great time and reflected on things that were going on at the Children's Project. It's a tremendous honor that the Hall family has instituted the Graduate Student Award Fund, which is described on the back of your program, and it's in Vance and Marilyn's name. This award will greatly benefit Juniper Gardens and will continue their legacy through the years with investment in younger students. Thanks to each and every one of you, families and friends alike, who have made contributions to that fund. With the contributions made since Marilyn passed, the fund is now approaching $20,000, and we'll be making the first annual award from that fund in their name this winter to a graduate student who is currently working at Juniper Gardens. We're eager to have you join us after this session today. There's a reception across the street, the nice, beautiful building just across the street, across the traffic light, and the third floor, and we'll have a reception there. That'll be right after the program. So I guess for the Juniper Gardens folks right today, I just want to say we're so honored that Marilyn chose to have her memorial here with us. And with that, I'd like to introduce Laurel Stitzel, and Vance and Marilyn's youngest daughter, who will be leading the program for today. Thanks, it's great to see everybody, and thanks for being here.
Thanks, Charlie. I remember so well just growing up at Juniper Gardens, so it always feels a bit like coming home, being back in the Juniper neighborhood and with folks from there, so thanks. I want to welcome all of you here today on behalf of my father, Vance, my Aunt Fran, Marilyn's younger sister, as well as on behalf of my 5 siblings, Doug, Debbie, Julie, and Allison, Darian, and myself, as we gather to remember a remarkable woman, our mother, our sister, and Vance's wife of nearly 40 years, our very own Marilyn Hall. Marilyn was grandma to 18, and so bear with me, grandkids, because this is exactly what grandma would want me to do. I'd like you all to stand up, the grandkids, the adult grandkids. They range in age from 20 to 40, and they're here today from Boston, Texas, Seattle, all around the area. If you could just turn around and wave for a moment. Thanks for being here, guys. And these guys made incredible pages, and I really encourage, if you hadn't had a chance yet at the reception, to actually pick up and read what they wrote, look at the pictures. It was just impossible to have everyone speak today, and that was a way to involve grandkids, and they did such a beautiful job. And there are a number of great-grandchildren here today. There are 13 great-grandchildren who knew Grandma as Gigi, and great-grandma. And can you guys give us a wave, the ones that are here? Great. Thanks, guys. Nice. And there's some very younger ones. They go in age all the way up to 12. There will be a teenager who's a great-grand this year. So thank you all for joining us to remember and celebrate the life of Marilyn. She was, the rest of you, your aunt, your cousin, your friend, your confidant, your colleague, your counselor, your teacher, and more. As her family, we're glad you're with us today and that we very nearly fit into this room. It was a little close there. I want to address a few things before we start our program. So I just want to remind everyone about the reception, where we will have wine and some festivities and a chance to really visit with one another. So we encourage you to come. And right now you might be worried seeing the program that we're going to be here all evening. But what my father's done, what Vance has done, is asked 3 friends to share a special story or a vignette or anecdote. And then for each of the 6 children, there's a representative from the family who will get up and share something about Marilyn. So at this point, let's move on to the program so that we can all soon actually get over to the celebration, which is what she wanted us to do. And we'll have a chance over there too also to fill in, share a memory or something in a memory book that will go with Vance in the future. So please be sure to do that. So with that, thanks again for being here. It's wonderful to see new faces and people that we've known for a long time. And I want to invite the first speaker up today, my sister Debbie, and we'll get started with the program. There will be no break between speakers in the interest of time. Thanks so much.
Hello, my goodness. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. Joni Mitchell. My mother, Marilyn Hall, was born August 18th, 1930. She passed away this morning from pneumonia, brought on by the flu while on vacation with my dad, Vance Hall. I am grateful we had enough time to get to the hospital where she was being treated in Hays, Kansas, to be with her the last few days, to share our love with her and what she meant to us, and to support each other as a family in the process. It's hard to say goodbye, and I wish I had more time right now and had spent more time with her in the past. Even though I know she is at peace and that her struggle to pass in her own way, there is pain and sadness. But although gone, I know she left us a legacy of love and perseverance. Mom was in many ways ahead of her time. In the 1960s, when being a homemaker was the norm for adult women, she went back to school and got her master's and then her doctorate in education. In spite of the pressures of public opinion for a community leader's family, she went through a divorce when a woman's right to support herself was not always based on ability, resulting in rejection and disdain from friends and family alike. She truly believed that everyone deserves to be happy, and she refused to be a victim of her time or social norms. So she weathered the criticism and found love and happiness. Mom stood by her children, even when my brother had hair down to the middle of his back, and I sported a huge afro. She knew this was all part of our journey that would allow us to learn who we were and to become the people we are today. Through her example, she taught us not to judge others, to believe in ourselves, to be kind to others, and mindful of how fortunate we are. As a special education teacher, she helped hundreds of parents struggling with children and eventually became a marriage counselor who spoke wisdom from experience to couples in need of help. She made a difference. 40 years ago, this February, she gave us a wonderful gift by marrying Vance Hall. A kind, smart, generous, and loving man, Dad, who has loved us unconditionally as if we were his own. Their life together is a true love story. With him came 3 daughters who have become my sisters. My parents succeeded in making a blended family become one. My youngest sister was just 11 when they married. She had lost her mother to heart disease, and they became a trio, with my dad actually taking her with them on their first date. Like any family, there were struggles, but the good won out, and I gained a father and 3 sisters. In our blended family, we have 5 sisters and 1 brother, poor Doug. Laurel, my youngest sister, came from Seattle this week to help with Mom's illness and to support Dad, and she cared for each and every one of us. I want to thank everyone for your kind words of support. It means so much as we struggle with our loss. My mother was an individual, and she did things her own way in life and in leaving it. Be at peace, Mom. I'll miss you, but take comfort knowing you gave me what I needed. Thank you.
Such a feeling's coming over me. There is wonder in most everything I see. Not a cloud in the sky, got the sun in my eyes, and I won't be surprised if it's a dream. Everything I want the world to be is now coming true, especially for me. Clear, it's because you are here. You're the nearest thing to heaven that I've seen. I'm on the top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I've found ever since you've been around. Your love's put me at the top of the world. Something in the wind has learned my name, and it's telling me that things are not the same. In the leaves on the trees and the touch of the breeze, there's a pleasing sense of happiness for me. There is only one wish on my mind. When this day is through, I hope that I will find that tomorrow will be just the same for you and me. All I need will be mine if you are here. I'm on the top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I've found ever since you've been around. Your love's put me at the top of the world. I'm on the top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I've found ever since you've been around. Your love's put me at the top
It's wonderful to be here to celebrate a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine. And I want to thank Vance and the family for giving me the honor and privilege of being here to talk about her and how wonderful our life together was. I'm sure everyone feels the same as they sit there with their memories and thoughts of Marilyn and how much she was a part of your life. You can feel the warmth and the love in this room from family and friends. And we know that it's just because she was such a loving, warm person. My friendship with Marilyn began in a professional way. It was in a setting, literally a setting. My son, Sean, as being one of 5 sons, I was familiar with being called to Crestview many times. And this time it was because Sean was having a difficult time staying in his seat at school. So they had called Marilyn in for observation, and I came up to meet with her. And it was, excuse me, it was then that our beautiful friendship began. That meeting turned into 46 years of loving friendship and being so warm with each other. I went on to assist her in the development of the Responsive Parenting Program. This was a program that was Marilyn's love and wanting a desire to help all parents. She said there'll never be enough professionals, Linda, out there to help with parental problems. Everybody's kids don't always listen to you and all. So she developed, and I assisted her in this with teaching parents how to manage their children's behavior by positive reinforcement. As a parent, we all know that we can see those negative things right away, but Marilyn taught me and other parents how to see the positive things. I went on to become a parent trainer for Marilyn and stayed with the program for many years. Later, I moved and left Kansas City and moved to Washington and then on to Florida. But I never lost my love and friendship of Marilyn. We talked, we would listen to each other, even though there was distance between us. When I came back to Kansas City, we'd be there just like it was yesterday that we had just last spoken or seen each other. Marilyn was the sister I never had. We also kept up with our kids and our life and what was just going on. I was fortunate enough to have my last lunch with Marilyn on Monday before they took their wonderful vacation and talked about that they were going to enjoy the mountains and the parks. I feel so thankful that my son Sean didn't stay in his seat, or I would never have had the 46 years of wonderful friendship that I had with that beautiful, beautiful Marilyn. I know she is here saying, I'm still with you, to all of us.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alva Beasley, and we are here to celebrate the life of Marilyn Hall. I'd like to thank the family for asking me to be a part of this. Marilyn was a very dear friend. I worked at Juniper Gardens with Marilyn for many years. I met Marilyn somewhere around 1976 when she became Director of Responsive Parenting at Juniper. And we at Juniper Gardens loved us some Merlin and Vance Hall. After Vance retired, you didn't see one without the other at any of Juniper Gardens' major social events. We have had many, many people pass through the doors of Juniper Gardens over the years, but Merlin Hall was certainly one of our favorites. She fit right in from day one. Now, many of you knew Betty Smith, and if Betty gave you a pass, you knew you had to be someone special. We loved Merlin not only because she married such a wonderful, caring man, but also because she was such a caring and kind, smart person. Merlin respected everyone, no matter where you were on the totem pole. I can truly say Merlin always remained the same, treating everyone with love and respect. My first impression of Merlin was, now, here's a person that is going to be a real part of what we called then the dance hall gang. This is what I loved most about Merlin. She was so funny. She always greeted me with, "I am so mad at you." And I would say, "Merlin, what did I do?" She would look at me real close with those big blue eyes and say, "You don't have a wrinkle anywhere." Little did she know I had them, but I knew how to hide them. We would hug and laugh together until the next time, and she would give it to me again. I got a little note at one of Vance's yearly Christmas letters, or maybe it was one of my yearly birthday cards. But it said, "You know you're my favorite at Juniper Gardens." Needless to say, that made my day. I would say to each of you today, let's laugh as we always laugh at the little jokes you enjoyed together. And I think Merlin would say, death is nothing at all. I have only slipped away into the next room. Whatever we were to each other, we still are. Just call me by one of my old familiar names. Merlin, friend, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and talk to me. May you feel her loving spirit near you now, in the blessing of caring thoughts and in the comfort of cherished memories. John 14:3 says, "And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, you may be also." We love you, Merlin. Rest in peace.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, when someone else instead of me and the world's alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seemed impossible to face, and when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. I just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely
Hello. Kristen and I are privileged to be here to speak on behalf of Doug Clark's family. There are so many beautiful words spoken by our family of Grandma and Great-Grandma. Her fire, her kind heart, her love to learn that Brendan and Sarah see in their children, her great-grandchildren. Her passion for her career, her strength, and her confidence. The pride she has in all of our family that always puts a smile on all of our faces. One gift that Grandma has with all of her grandchildren was the fact that she was so happy, so excited, and so proud of where we were in life. Whether it was school, working at Lake Quivira Country Club, playing tennis, playing in a band, having children, starting a business, no matter what. Her pretty blue eyes shined and made all of us feel loved, accomplished, and proud of ourselves. Spending time at Lake Quivira is something that all of the grandchildren who experience it hold near and dear to their heart. In our family, we begged our parents every chance we can get to take us there. We love spending 4th of July weekends together as a family, rolling down the biggest hill we could find, jumping off the high dive into that scary catfish, building sandcastles, feeling oh so cool driving that golf cart, and trying to convince our grandparents to let us drive it. Grandma, you will remain one of the most genuine people we've had the privilege of knowing. Your legacy will be shared by your family and treasured forever.
Hello, my name's Clyde Adams. I'm one of a handful of son-in-laws that Marilyn brought into her life. She welcomed each and every one of us into her life just as if we were her own children. Some of us came into her life needing a little bit of improvement, as most of us do. Marilyn, through advanced behavioral modification, a science she not only believed in, but one that she lived and helped us learn to live also. An occasional behave yourself with the blue-eyed stare that would stop anybody in their tracks that was misbehaving. Marilyn was able to mold the majority of us into respectable husbands for her daughters. So we were blessed with that. Marilyn had a way of drawing not only her son-in-laws, but in cases where there were pre-existing families or children, drawing them in also. And there was never a distinction that could be known. Her love was just as genuine across the board for everyone. And there was never a hesitation. We all benefited from her presence in our lives, and she seemed to know what we needed, even if we did not. Because of her deep appreciation for life and art, music, and travel, she expanded the horizons of everyone in our ever-growing family. The relationship she and Vance shared was an inspiration to all of us. Their love for each other was unquestionable, but it was their respect for each other's intellect and opinions that was a lesson you could not help but absorb. Marilyn will be greatly missed, but as evidenced by what people have said today, her passions and her influence on us and the way we can spread that influence onto others will live on forever. We genuinely appreciate that contribution. And finally, to Vance, my very best friend, thank you for giving Marilyn the wonderful life she deserved. Thank you.
So as you know, I'm Laurel, Marilyn's youngest, who entered her life when I was just 11 years old, and it's true, I really was on that date. Not long after that, actually, she married Vance. And I'm the sole child who lived at home with these two lovebirds who had found each other in midlife. And I can attest that they loved each other like they were teenagers from the beginning, in the middle, and absolutely at the very end. Our two families, excuse me, had come together at a time when each had faced loss. For Marilyn's children, the dissolution of her previous marriage. And for me and my siblings, Vance's children, the death of my first mother. Still mired very much in our own losses at the time. It really took us children some years to grow into the love that Marilyn and Vance felt for our new and larger family at the outset. Over time, we've all grown and changed. And we eventually came to see that not only did our parents, Marilyn and Vance, come to love each and every one of us as their own, they also came to love our partners and spouses, and eventually all of our children, who were their grandchildren, and the great-grands, with no distinction between who was biologically related and who was not. And with that, we all became a little more whole. For my part, I can say that Marilyn and I struggled, and we worked very hard to get to where we did in this lifetime as mother and daughter. And I'm forever changed by, and also appreciative for all that I learned and that she gave me, and that I eventually was able to come to call her mom. And there's also much that I'm learned that I'm still realizing. But I'm before you now today, not only to share my thoughts, but because my father asked me very shortly after she died if I would speak for him today by sharing a little more about Marilyn's final days and hours in Hays, Kansas. My sister Debbie talked some about that time in the tribute that she wrote just the morning after she died earlier today. She read to us. And what I'm going to be talking about, what he asked me to talk about, was more in depth of that time in the hospital And when he first asked me to do that, I wasn't really sure that I could, or maybe even that I should. But I realized in the days we spent together talking about that time how valuable we were finding it, and that it really gave him comfort, the notion of us sharing that today. So I'm going to do my best to give you a flavor of the way in which she lived very fully, even as she died. So Mom told me, actually, on the phone before they departed on their trip, we're going to go find the field where we saw so many elk years ago, and that this is really more than a honeymoon for us. People may not understand, but it really is more than a honeymoon. And it was with that sentiment, amazingly, that they set off that August morning with unbridled joy and potential, like teenagers in all the best ways. You see, they were doing what they'd come to do best, which was to seize life fully, engaging the world head on, whether it was traveling abroad, they covered so much of the world, time with family here and in other cities, playing Crazy Louie, bridge, and other games, following their favorite sports teams, the Jayhawks and the Royals. They barely missed a Royals game this season. Or simply holding hands, as they so often did. They were known for that at Juniper in the early days, and then at their retirement home, Tallgrass, they weren't there for long before they became known as the couple that still holds hands walking down the hall. But it was really this way of engaging life so fully, you see. That's why I think my father wanted me to talk about the time in Hays that we spent as a family, my siblings and some of the grandchildren and he and I. Because she was a marvel to us there. She seized life quite fully, even there in the ICU, on a ventilator, unable to talk freely, but not at all unable to communicate. She was clear-headed and lucid, amazingly so. She was loving and she was certain. And with what seemed like boundless love, even in the face of her taxing physical state, when she wasn't sleeping, Mom kept her arms both literally and figuratively wide open as we streamed into her room. And boy, did we stream into that room. We, each sibling that could, came to help her get better, only to find ourselves hoping and sometimes pushing for the impossible, and ultimately facing the inevitable. You see, I really think that Mom realized before we did that she would die in Hays. And then, to the extent that she could, she guided us to accept that with her. The first time I was in her room and she expressed her profound awareness that she would likely die, as we were just still taking it in, she assured us, writing on her clipboard, 86 is enough. And Vance then lovingly leaned in and conveyed to her that if she did die, he would move to Seattle. As it turned out, before becoming ill, she had urged him to do if she died first. I was surprised. It was the first time I'd heard that. But to this, when he said, I will move to Seattle, she nodded vigorously, and then wrote something on the clipboard that revealed so much. I took it. You'll take excellent care of him. And what revealed so much? You'll take excellent care of him, and oh yes, he loses things. Any of you who know Vance know that's true. And so she brought love and laughter, even in these moments that others might have found very grim and discouraging. She set the tone. And we, her children and grandchildren, we streamed in on foot via video messages, texts, and letters from afar that we read aloud to her. She grasped at her heart when seeing pictures of the great-grands. She so loved being great-grandma Gigi. She went like this with fists in the air after hearing messages that grandchildren will carry on playing bridge and using her notes. She amazingly, somehow, even there, took pleasure in each specific child and grandchild, whether they could be by her side or not. We literally talked about every single grandchild during that time. During her final day, she continued. We were there all of us together just for a few days, is the period of time I'm talking about. And during her final day, she actually continued to wow us with her ability to convey messages and meaning. Being a veteran game player of what we in the family call Bob, it's kind of a charade-like game that involves a lot of facial expression and hand movement, turns out to be a huge benefit when you're on a ventilator. So at one point, as an example, after a grandchild on the phone said, "I love you, Grandma," for what I think they both understood would be the last time, she skillfully motioned to me, "What about Frisbee?" So once again, we started laughing, and she wanted to hear what was up with the Ultimate College Frisbee team that she and Grandpa had traveled to watch in 2 different states just this past year. So what I want you to know is that there was something just so generous and life-giving about the way she wanted to know everything, even though she was well aware she wouldn't live to hear the next chapter in these stories. She asked after grandchildren who had faced recent struggles, and she was eager to know if they were okay. Not just asking, but pressing for the truth. "Really, are you okay?" You could see it in her eyes. She could express so much, and she relished in the answers and their love. She made sure that family present saw her son's most recent pieces of art passing around the iPhone, and she beamed. She pushed to see the news and the Royals games, and even after a nurse encouraged her to rest that evening, so Dad tried to tell her there was nothing good on, she wrote on the clipboard, "Says who?" So as Dad likes to say, he turned the TV back on, and they watched CNN together one last time. It was this outward-looking awareness, not just of those in the room, but the world beyond her, that moved and buoyed us. Her way of interacting, so sharp and witty. In some ways, I feel like I learned how funny she was there in the hospital reading clipboard messages. I think I would have gotten more of her earlier humor if I'd read more of those. But the fact that she was so sharp and witty there, I think in some ways made it harder to accept or to even grasp that she wouldn't be with us much longer. And then there'd be moments where she'd keep us aware of that too, as she didn't care for platitudes. So her honesty in those moments really enriched the time that we shared. We told her about the people who were still driving or had plans to drive in the morning, or who were flying in to see her so she could feel their love for her, even if they didn't arrive before she departed. Her girls told her stories of their childhood with their brother. Grandchildren who were able to come gave hugs, held her foot, stroked her hand, gave hugs, and recounted fun and antics from days spent at Lake Quivira. She wanted to hear more and turned to me as well. She really wanted everyone to share so much that they could from fun times in the past. She wanted one more time to hear stories of when Vance was a little boy, so many favorite stories, and of her own youngest years. More than one of us recounted the favorite story of when she was just a child hanging by her knees from the windmill, and her father couldn't get her to come down, so offered ice cream. So she came down, got a firm spanking, and then they went to get ice cream. We found when we were in Hayes a beautiful box with a windmill scene on front of it for her urn of ashes, and it just immediately spoke to us of that memory of her. We talked of the train ride she and her dear younger sister took to Colorado on their own one summer, and she told us by writing again on her clipboard how it was after she got to college that she learned how to spread her wings. Mom expressed worry over how to tell her sweetie all the things she wanted him to know. And then, again amazingly, valiantly, she made an effort to do so, writing page after page. It wasn't easy writing, but she persevered. She commanded him to go to the African American Museum in D.C. ASAP. She said she needed him to cheer for the Jayhawks, and she urged him to seek his own happiness throughout. we saw her reach up and touch his face and adjust his collar with a love so tender and so alive. We were engaged in a dance, each of us, with her, and her with life itself. Marilyn seemed to be the only one who knew all of the steps to this dance, and that wasn't so unusual. She liked to be in control, and she was. And the dance did not always go the way each of us wanted it to, but it was, in the end, I think, rather beautiful, and included a type of harmony and grace that was not just 40 years, but a lifetime in the making. Her world didn't seem to be getting smaller. If you know much about when people die, often their world gets smaller and smaller, it scrunches down. But hers seemed to be getting bigger as more people arrived and more love flooded the room, more messages. And the other thing that flooded the room was hope, that she would defy the odds and recover. And because she always defied the odds. And I'm here to tell you that while my mom died in Hayes, she did defy the odds. She defied the odds there by staying positive, fearless, even funny, not mired in regrets, but rejoicing in those she loved and who loved her. As the end neared, she held our hands in her own. She took comfort in a simple hand placed on her foot. She felt Vance's hand now on her face, with love and tenderness that was unending. Her state of mind seemed to be honest, remarkably fearless, and open. I won't pretend that everything about dying was easy for her or for us as individuals and a family. It wasn't, and it's not. There are so many hard things about losing someone who played such a significant, very different for each of us, but significant role in our lives. And I, for one, am still integrating some of that as well as her death, as I believe others are in their unique way as well. But like my father, I continue to take comfort from the fact that she really did exhibit grace, clarity, love, and affection through her last hours, amazingly teaching us about how to live life even while she was dying.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. Why do stars fall down from the sky every time you walk by? Just like me, they long to be close to you. On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair of golden starlight in your eyes of blue. That is why all the girls in town follow you all around. Just like me, they long to be close to you. On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. That is why all the girls in town follow you all around. Just like me, they long to be close to you. Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Good afternoon. I'm Darian, one of the middle daughters, and I add my thanks to you for being here today. Last year was the 50th anniversary celebration of the Juniper Gardens Children's Project, the educational research program that Dad directed in its first 25 years and where Marilyn and Dad met. Leading up to that special celebration, Marilyn had the idea that it would be a great time to honor Dad with some type of fund in his name that would benefit Juniper Gardens in some way. She asked if I would look into it and find out what might be possible. The result, with help and generous contributions from our blended and extended family, along with colleagues and friends, including many of you, was that we were able to endow a fund that will provide, as you've heard, a monetary award each year for an outstanding Juniper Gardens graduate student. As some of you know, the fund was named the R. Vance Hall Juniper Gardens Children's Project Graduate Student Award Fund. Try saying that 5 times fast. The fund never would have happened if Marilyn hadn't had what I think was a brilliant idea, and then encouraged us to pursue it, and if she hadn't convinced Dad that it was a good thing. It meant the world to her that so many honored Dad by contributing to it. Shortly after Marilyn died, Dad and I each had the idea that perhaps we could rename the fund. So I contacted KU Endowment again, and indeed, we are very happy that the new name of the fund is the R. Vance and Marilyn Hall Juniper Gardens Children's Project Graduate Student Award Fund. Our heartfelt thanks to all who have given to the fund or to any charity of their choice in Marilyn's memory. The idea for the fund was really just another manifestation of Marilyn's devotion to Dad through all the years. She was devoted to our blended family as well, as you've heard, along with Dad. Marilyn was very much a grandmother to my kids, Arthur and Aletha, and together she and Dad talked about all the grands and later the great-grands. She always supported me as a young adult and teacher, and later as a parent, including coming and providing great help with when each of my children was born. And I think she did that for every single one of us. She was also tremendous support to me through some tough times in my life. Personally, she and I had many interests in common, not to mention our petite stature, and we enjoyed our times together. We talked about and shared books, TV shows, and films, and went to movies together whenever we had the chance, along with Dad. I could rely on them for reviews since there weren't very many good movies that came out that the two of them didn't see. Many of you know that Marilyn enjoyed games, especially cards, and could be quite competitive, but mostly she just liked to play. She also loved a big family game of Bob, as you've heard mentioned. It is a team game that's kind of a cross between charades and a game that some call Celebrity, and that Laurel and David had introduced it to us. And you kind of, as Laurel described, you really kind of have to put yourself out there for it. And truth be told, despite the training it gave her for being on a ventilator, the truth be told, she wasn't that great at it. But she was always game. Another interest that Marilyn and I shared was music. We both enjoyed a variety from pop to classical. When she and Dad visited my family and me in Concord, we often would attend a Boston Symphony Orchestra concert or some other musical event. And they would also come to my church and hear the choir that I sing in. Marilyn enjoyed singing herself, and when she attended Bethany College, she sang in their Big Messiah Festival. This has a very large chorus made up of Bethany students and faculty, along with Lindsborg community members, and it requires a great commitment to rehearsals. The annual festival has now taken place for 135 years and counting. It was clear that Marilyn had loved being part of that Bethany tradition and was proud of having sung in this special chorus all 4 years of her time there. The Bethany College Music Department has graciously provided us with a recording of the 2015 festival performance of Handel's Messiah. At the end of the program today, we'll hear its most well-known movement, the Hallelujah Chorus. We chose it in memory and in honor of Marilyn and her love of music, her love of family, her love of Dad, her love of life.
Good afternoon. I have to lift this up a little bit.
Yeah.
My name is Steve Keller, neighbor and most importantly, friend. My first vignette is a personal connection I had with Marilyn. Marilyn Lee Hawkins is how a genealogist would address her, and I know because I'm her genealogist. In 2013, she had a thirst for knowledge, and I had a little extra time on my hand. So I said, let's dig into your family past. And we did. And the first research produced quite a few results. We were able to get several of her lines back to the 1700s, and we even connected with one line back to the Mayflower. But on the Hawkins line, we were only able to get back to a gentleman by the name of Carvel Hawkins, who had died in the War of 1812. So we got with Marilyn. I gave her all this information. She was delighted to hear it, but I could sense there was something missing. And that got reinforced when I was with her on subsequent occasions. And she would ask, what's new with the Hawkins line? So I decided to give it one more try. So I was able to find the father and the father and the father of Carvel Hawkins, and the family extended all the way back to a gentleman by the name of Sir John Hawkins. Now, Sir John was knighted by Queen Elizabeth I because of his service when England defeated Spain and the Spanish Armada. So he was quite a noteworthy and prominent man of his time. Marilyn was thrilled to learn this information, so much so that it begged me to go back and do some more research, which I did, only to find a couple of clouds on the horizon. It seems that Sir John had a past, and in that past he was involved with slave trade to North America, and also involved in tobacco shipping back to England. Well, when I broke this news to Marilyn, she never again asked me about that Hawkins line. Well, in 1998, Vance and Marilyn, deciding they'd had enough outdoor chores such as raking leaves, look for a maintenance-provided community. We were fortunate that they chose Fairway Woods. Being the socialites that they were, they began connecting with neighbors. And one of those first gatherings produced the fact that Marilyn established the First Ladies Book Club in the neighborhood, and that has since grown to 3 active groups. Another gathering produced a bridge club, and there are several of those active in the neighborhood. Vance, in the meantime, liked a game of chance, so he formed a poker group. And although Marilyn didn't play poker, she sure liked attending the parties that the poker group had. Most of them locally, but occasionally we'd have a trip down to the Lake of the Ozarks, and a good time was had by all. She attended the ladies' luncheons, progressive dinner parties. There were neighborhood gatherings at the gazebos. You've probably seen Vance dressed in some garb there. And anytime there was a chance to interact with neighbors, whether it's a dinner date, at home or out, if it involved jazz or KU basketball, they were all game for that. They established their own party tradition by hosting Kentucky Derby parties, and you had to come dressed in appropriate attire and enjoy the wonderful mint juleps that were served. Sadly, in 2012, they decided to locate to Tallgrass. It was only 5 miles away, but it seemed much further than that. Marilyn was endeared and loved by everybody in the neighborhood, and she left a void that to this day has not been filled. Well, the Halls loved to travel, and they've taken 6 international trips, and so many in North America that they've lost count. I know anytime Sandy and I would ask them about a venue somewhere around the world, whether it be Zion National Park or Grand Canyon or Alaska, Marilyn would say, "We've been there twice." And it enabled them to get around and see the beauty of North America, and also to interact with many of their colleagues here at KU and Juniper. And it was on that final journey that they were taking to the Yellowstone in the Dakotas that her trip was cut short. Marilyn never took a bad picture. This is my favorite. It was taken the day we had a Bon Voyage party as they were moving to Tallgrass. We miss her immensely, and I hope you will join me over the course of the day and toast this grand lady.
Hi, I'm Allison, the oldest. I wrote a poem about Marilyn, but I also wanted to say, based on other people's comments, that Marilyn and I loved antiques. It's one thing that we really shared and really enjoyed talking about. We enjoyed going antiquing when we were together, and she generously donated a couple things to me over the years for my birthday and whatever that had been hers, and I treasure them greatly. Marilyn, once a redhead filled with fire, who would know she'd later inspire? Blue eyes brilliant, powder blue, a distinct feature, strong and true. Attended college, teaching degree, created skills for all to see. Married, children, 3 strong, creative, playing everyone. Children grown, marriage ended, life feels a bit suspended. Marriage again, 3 daughters added. Mother, stepmother, it makes no matter. Blended family, new to all. Years go by, we slip and fall. Grandchildren come, great-grandchildren too. Travel vacations, see the view. Aging, slowing, memories abound. Children playing, she remembers the sound. White hair, hip pain, back pain, more. Life is still too fun to ignore. In sickness and health, till death do us part, life would end with so much heart. Marilyn's here among us all, her eyes, her smile, her legacy call. Teaching, guiding, counseling, and love, we feel it now from above. Blue eyes shining, memories comfort, blended family, all as one.
You know, it's a pleasure today to look out and see so many of Marilyn's family, friends, and colleagues. Some 50 years ago, Dick Schiefelbusch of the Bureau of Child Research and Don Baer of the Department of Human Development and Family Life brought Mont Wolf, Todd Risley, Betty Hart, and me to KU to help start the Juniper Gardens Children's Project. We were a good team, and working with Fred Giardo of the Bureau of Child Research, very soon, Juniper Gardens was up and running. Unfortunately, of that initial group, only Dick Schiefelbusch and I remain. I'm so glad that of that group, though, Sandra Wolf and Marguerite Risley are here today. You know, as I see the modern offices of Juniper Gardens Children's Project in the beautiful building across the street, it reminds me that 50 years ago, our programs were in the basement of churches and community centers. And for 20 years, my office and those of my graduate students were in the basement of the C.L. Davis's liquor store. But it was at Juniper Gardens that I met Marilyn. Mont Wolf had hired her to teach high school dropouts in a token reinforcement classroom. And Mont told me that Marilyn Hall, Marilyn Clark at the time, was the best teacher he'd ever observed. And I think that was true. Together, our team, with the backing of leaders in the community, including Uriel and Chester Owens, John Burris, the Kirkwoods, Harris Collingwood, and others, We developed programs and carried out research that made a difference in the lives of parents and children, not only in Kansas City, Kansas, but ultimately across the country and in other countries as well. So, Marilyn and I had fond memories of the years we spent at Juniper Gardens, and that's why she requested that if we had a memorial service, it be held here. In addition, it was a wonderful feeling for us to realize in the 25 years since we left Juniper Gardens, Charlie Greenwood and his colleagues, many here, expanded and extended the programs of research and training that we had started. And so Juniper Gardens has had an ever-increasing impact on behavior analysis and special occasion in our country and abroad. If Marilyn were here, she would also want to greet and recognize our many colleagues at KU and all of the people at Juniper Gardens that followed us. Marilyn and I were so fortunate that when we retired, we first lived at Lake Quivira, where we loved to play golf, and as has been indicated, our grandchildren love our golf cart. And then we lived for 15 years in the wonderful neighborhood of the villas at Fairway Woods. It was a special place. We had dinners, and as Steve pointed out, Kentucky Derby parties. I had a poker group, Marilyn had book club and bridge groups, and she would certainly want me to greet those here today who came from our old neighborhood, the villas of Fairway Woods, a wonderful place. After the villas, we moved to Tallgrass Creek. It's a retirement facility, but there are two we found friends, a number of whom are here today. They've helped us live active and fulfilling lives over the last 4.5 years. Finally, Marilyn wanted to express her love for all in our blended family. Our families grew together and became close, and lovingly, most all are here today, many from afar. Our daughters, with the support of their husbands and working with Barb Terry and others at Juniper Gardens, planned this memorial and the reception to follow. Our son, Doug Clark, painted the beautiful paintings on display. So it's a pleasure today for me to look out and see so many of you who knew Marilyn and who enriched our lives. And to honor our dear Marilyn today, she was mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, teacher, friend, and colleague of many, and the love of my life.
You may have seen me duck out because I realized that we were missing something. My father and I wanted to ask Barbara Terry to come up for a moment because she's rolling her eyes at me already. She is the person from Juniper Gardens without whom this event would not have happened. And so Barb. Here's the incredible things, folks, is that some generous family out here, I don't know who you are, brought some flowers and left them on the table. My friend Susan, who helped coordinate today, let me know. Bill Walker. And Dale. So, Dale. Oh, Dale. Perfect. Dale, you brought these flowers. I could not bear the idea of not presenting you flowers. So my dad will hand you the amazing 24 roses he got for you. But we want to... honor you now by saying this woman should have flowers in her hand every day. She is incredible. Thank you, Barb. And thanks to everyone. Yes.
They give me way too much credit, but as a gracious assistant, I will take it all. But Dale, I'll take these. I'll give them back to you. But no, really, it has been my pleasure working with the family, and it's going to be a shock to a lot of you. I am now the newest Hall family member. Vance is now my academic dad, and so guess who's coming to dinner?
So, Barb,